It's the Strawberry and Lizette Mexican Ginger podcast, not suitable for a younger audience.
We have a fighter in the studio with us right now. Blake, what's your fighting name, Blake?
Blake the Beast McKernan.
Blake the
McKernan.
Beast McKernan.
Are you Irish?
Scottish and Irish.
Hey.
I knew it.
Fighting's in my blood.
Exactly.
So-
It is, right?
I don't think I've ever heard you talk before. And so when I saw your last name was like Mick something, I was like, oh, he's got to be Irish or something like that. And I thought of who's the other fighter, the famous one?
Don't say Conor McGregor.
Yes, you know the way he talks. So I was expecting you to come in talking like that. And
All right, lad.
Yeah.
Right.
I go to the front door and he's like, hey, was that nice to meet you finally?
Oh, you're normal.
Yeah, it totally caught me off guard. But I
It's
guess
funny. People always, I always catch them off guard with my deep voice. They're like, oh, I didn't know what you sounded like.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to say, oh, I didn't know you were white. That's a nice way of saying
well, no,
that.
I knew he was white,
Yeah.
but I just found out today you're Irish. So
Scottish and Irish.
I thought you were going to talk like that.
Have
With
you?
an accent.
Where does the Scottish from? Where's the Scottish from, and where's the
He's
Irish
also
from?
Irish, by the way.
My parents were never married.
Okay.
My dad and my mom were never married. So obviously when I was born, I got a little bit of everything. So I'm a little bit Cherokee Indian, Scottish, and Irish. So I got a little bit of everything in me. But
Wow.
I don't know if you could tell, I really don't look Cherokee Indian.
Yeah, no kidding, right? No kidding. Have you ever been to Ireland or Scotland?
Not yet, but my siblings have.
It's great.
We have family in Glasgow, Scotland, which is
Yeah.
the capital.
Beautiful out there.
I always wanted to go out there, just haven't made it yet, but I plan on going out to Europe later this year.
It's so fun. And the way they talk, Irish people and Scottish people, like, generally they'll sound the same to people, but like the Scottish people sound like really, really drunk people at a bar. Like they're like the way they slur their words is different than the way the Irish people slur their words.
Sounds the same to me.
That's what I'm saying. People think it's the same, but when you get out there and you go to Ireland and Scotland and you compare talking to different people, like
Kilts are kilts.
it's hard.
It's all the
It's
same to
hard
me.
to communicate in Scotland.
Well, you got to think a normal day out there is going to the bar, drinking a pint,
There's that too.
going to a soccer game, getting in a few fights, and then going home for the night.
Yeah.
It's a normal
It's just
day
another
out there,
Tuesday.
you know?
The most fun people I've ever met, though, hanging out in Ireland and Scotland.
Has anyone ever told you that when because the first time we met was at one of our shows at Thunder Valley. I can't remember which one
Summer
it was.
Jam?
Oh, you two met
Was
already?
it Summer Jam?
Lizette and Blake?
Like a long time
we
ago,
just-
but it was
in
briefly
passing,
In
yeah.
passing, yeah. And I kept seeing you like around backstage and stuff. I'm like, who is that guy? He looks like Pitbull. Like Blake was back there wearing a suit,
Okay.
probably white, with
That's
sunglasses, and he's bald. I was like, that guy looks like Pitbull. That can't be Pitbull though. He's way too tall.
Everybody always says that whenever I dress up. They're like, "Oh my God,
So
you
that's
look
what I
just
was
like
gonna
Pitbull,
ask. Do you
Mr.
get that?
Worldwide."
Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, I get it all the time.
Pitbull's making bald-headed more fashionable now.
Right.
So shout out to Pitbull for that.
I've been bald my whole life, man. I've never had hair.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I've just never
Genetics,
liked it.
yeah?
Before
You
the
always just cut
military,
it?
I always shaved my head, and then obviously when I joined the military, I didn't really have to change
No
my
choice.
hairstyle.
Okay, what branch?
I was in the Army. I was infantry. I was a machine
Okay.
gunner, so I was in the military for 3.5
That
years.
sounds fun. Fun
Deployed
stuff.
overseas to Iraq for a year, and then came back stateside, and my contract, enlistment was over, so I got out and started pursuing boxing.
Did you start fighting in the military?
Before.
Before.
So I tried to join the military. Initially, you always have to have a job, so I was always going to be infantry.
Okay.
But once I got out of basic training, I was supposed to be sent to Colorado Springs to try out for the Army boxing team. But because I got caught up in the deployment rotation and getting ready to deploy, I actually got stationed with one of the most rapid deploying units in every branch of the military with
Oh,
1st
shoot.
Cav.
Okay.
So I had no chance to go in there. So I just had to kind of get through my time, tour of duty, and then, pursue boxing again once I got out. But I started boxing when I was 10 years old.
Wow. That's what I was going to ask, because I've done boxing as like group classes and stuff like that, or like I've gone to title and like I've worked out.
Right.
I've only gotten in the ring a few times, and it was with headgear. I'm pretty sure I had headgear on, so nobody like put like fists in my face.
Right.
But to take that step from a group class into I'm in the ring and someone's trying to beat me in, like that's a big step to
Yeah.
take. And I didn't know when you started taking that step, because when I was 10 years old, I was playing soccer.
Right.
You were punching people.
Well, I was all around athlete. I always played basketball, soccer, golf. Got into boxing when I was 10 years old. And it just was something that as soon as I did it, I was like hooked to it.
Yeah?
I knew I was going to do that for the rest of my life.
Wow.
It's nuts.
My son did boxing for a little while, and he really wanted to do it. So we put him in there, and then he got bored really fast because it was a group setting and he was with other kids,
Right.
and it was just the same routines that he's running through over and over and over again, and he got bored.
No
And then-
sparring, right? There was no sparring. It was
No.
just punch the bag.
He was practicing like with the instructor.
Okay.
So like all the kids would be in the ring and they would be lined up, and then he would teach them like, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, like whatever that's called.
Yeah, there's certain levels to it, though. You know, you got to go through learning the basic combinations of footwork, things like that, doing the group classes for kids. You know, a lot of times if it's a bunch of like-minded kids, they're always goofing off. So
Yeah.
really dictates, you know, how much training they're going to get depending on how strict the coach is. But in the same time, you got to let the kids enjoy it and have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, he doesn't do it anymore.
Long story short.
he got
Hey,
he got
boxing
bored
and combative sports are made for everybody. You know, it could be really hard if you stay disciplined and, you know, do it all the way. But either way, you know, a lot of people I think are intimidated by combative sports or boxing. So
Yeah.
the fact that her son was getting implemented into it, I think it's something great for everybody to do because it's a good way to take out your frustration and
For
keep you healthy at the
sure.
same time. Hey, you got kids, you know, picking on you at school, go to the gym. Your boyfriend or your girlfriend's pissing you off, hey, let me go to the box gym and unleash some frustration, you know?
Exactly.
Speaking of bullies, I have a morality test for you.
Hold on. Before we get to the test, Blake, plug the fight real quick. We're going to come back to it again, but plug the
Okay.
fight. Thunder Valley next Saturday.
So I'll be headlining, first time headlining at Thunder Valley Casino at the new concert venue called The Venue, Saturday, March 8th at 7 p.m.
Got it.
And it's going to be a sold-out event, man. So if people haven't gotten tickets yet, get them because it'll definitely be sold out.
Okay. I want to talk more about the fight, but I know Lizette wants to kind of set the tone with this morality test
I was
because it's perfect with the bullying.
Right. I was going to do this first as like an icebreaker.
Pitbull just walked in. Okay, Pitbull left. He walked in and he left. It was real quick.
He's not wearing his glasses. Oh, put your glasses on.
Oh, I got to put on the glasses.
And then take your hat off.
For
Bring
everybody-
Pitbull back.
For everybody watching on YouTube, Pitbull walked in and he walked right back out. Now he's back.
Look, now he's
Oh,
back.
he's a 305.
Transform.
Okay, back to the morality test. Okay, so you have a son, right?
I do.
So maybe you can actually put yourself in this like position and really think a little harder about it than other people have. So your son, you find out your son has been getting bullied at school. He comes home and he comes home upset. He doesn't want to talk about it. Sometimes he's like a little, you can see he's been pushed around or whatever. And one day at the end of the week, he tells you and your wife, like, I've been getting picked on at school. Like, that's why I haven't been, you know, too happy when I come home. And you guys sit him down and you're like, you got to stand up to your bully. Like, that's the only way they're going to stop is you kind of got to put them in their place.
Right.
And your son's like, okay, like I'll do that next time. I'll try. Thanks. Whatever. It's the weekend. And he's like, I want to go to the store and get a snack. So you give him a few bucks. He walks to the store to go get some snacks. And then like 10, 15 minutes later, he comes running back in the door. And you're like, what's going on? Like, what happened? And he's, again, like visibly shaken up. He says, I ran into my bully when I was at the store and I did what you guys said. He was picking on me again. I stood up to him and I kind of like pushed him because he was pushing up on me. So I pushed him back. He tripped and he fell and he hit his head and he just laid there and I freaked out and left and ran home. So everyone's like, is he okay? Kid's like, I don't know. I just left. I got scared. Wife is like, let me go down there and check it out.
Right.
Wife goes down to the store to like scope out the scene and see if the kid's okay. When she gets there, there's a whole bunch of neighbors out there, cops, paramedics, everyone. Kid is dead. Fell, hit his head, died. So the wife goes back home and is like, oh, the kid died. Like, what should we do? So what would you do in that situation?
What would I do or what would the average person do?
What would you do?
You.
Me?
Yes.
I've raised my son in a boxing gym. His name is Tyson after Mike Tyson. So I've raised my son to never be a bully, but also to never be a punching bag. And I've always raised and taught my son that you better not ever pick on anybody, but if you're getting picked on, you have every right to defend yourself because you're not just going to be a human punching bag to people. So if a situation like that were to happen, my son came home and, you know, the relationship I have with my son is probably a lot different than most people. My son talks to me about everything. He would tell me exactly what happened. My very first question to him would be to ask him if he's okay. He's okay. Once we get through that and be like, all right, let's go down there and figure out what happened. Obviously, they'd more than likely be on camera, so I wouldn't worry too much about it, but I would make sure to do the right thing. You know, I'm a man of honor and integrity. You know, it's something that's always been deep-rooted inside of me even before the military. The military just kind of enhanced it a lot. So I always believe in doing the right thing, and the truth shall set you free, you know? So I would definitely take him down there to address the situation.
So you would go down there, you would talk to the cops.
100%. But they're not going to interview my son
Exactly.
like I've raised him now. They will never interview my son without me or his attorney being present, ever.
Smart.
I'll always protect
Okay.
my son and look out for his
You
best
have to be
interests.
the first person who was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Here's what's going to happen. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone else is like, oh, man, I don't know. Do we flee the country?
Dude, we
Like,
were booking flights. We were calling lawyers,
we
booking
said,
flights.
fuck that.
We were Googling non-extradition countries. Like, you,
Yeah, but then
you
doing
passed
that,
this
man,
one.
for the rest of your life, you're always worried
running.
about the outcome, the karma, looking over your shoulder. I don't deal and address situations like that in my life. If there's a situation, hey, let's go tackle it head on. You know, it's probably not going to be the most pleasant thing to do, but at least you can sleep better at night.
Yeah.
That's what matters to me.
Oof. I like that. I like how you raised your son. You have every right to defend yourself, and you are not going to be the bully.
Never.
Bullies are out there, but you're not one of them. I
100%.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
But he has every right to defend himself. You know, my son's been raised in a boxing gym. Obviously, the way I raised my son, the relationship I have with my son is probably far different than most people, especially in today's society. I feel like technology is raising people's children, not them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who lets that happen?
So, you know, my son...
Not me.
My son was born right before I got out of the military. So as soon as I got out of the Army, 2 months later, I was back here. I started boxing. So I used to bring my son to the gym with me every single day of his life in a car seat. He watched me train his whole life. You know, so I've raised
So it's
my...
probably something he was like excited to get
100%.
into and
so,
start
you know,
doing.
Ask me
Yeah.
that question. My son, I've raised him and taught him how to defend himself and how to fight, you know, but my son's not a fighter, but he can if he needs to.
Yeah.
My son grew up in the studio, so he's a little soft.
That's true. Yeah.
he's a little sensitive.
Lizette would bring the car seat in the studio. We'd put it over
I
in the
did.
corner.
I'd bring the playpen. I would set it up. He would want the snacks and the Mickey Mouse, and I'd be right over here working. You gotta do what you gotta
regardless
do.
of how I raised my son, though, I still think, like what we were talking about earlier, I think it's amazing for a lot of people, especially at a younger age, to learn about how to go through the responsibility, the respect, the discipline, the strength and endurance of knowing how to challenge yourself and learn how to fight. I think it's something that could never hurt anybody. You should always know how to defend yourself, men or women.
Yeah.
So-
I agree.
With your fight coming up on the 8th, what kind of things do you do to like prepare for a fight? Like, what's your schedule? What's your daily routine? Your diet? Like, what is it? Does everything change?
No, you know, for me, most people only start training really hard when they get a fight. Me, this is my full-time job. I train 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. I'm always in the
Okay,
gym.
so what's your normal day look like then?
So my normal day, so long story
What time do you wake up?
Start there.
Long story
How
short,
can I be like
wake
you?
up. My day starts at 6:30 in the morning. I wake up. I take my son to school.
Okay.
I go to the gym, do morning conditioning, ab work. Go home for 2.5, 3 hours. Eat, shower. Go back to the gym.
Real quick, is that your first meal of the day after your conditioning?
I do
Okay.
fasted cardio.
Okay.
It's the best way to do it. You know, I don't like to eat before I do cardio, so I do 45 minutes of cardio with
Okay.
a little bit of ab work.
Okay.
Go home, eat, replenish, rehydrate, come back to the gym about 3 hours later, do a 2-hour strength and conditioning workout of a lot of weight training,
Okay.
doing supersets. Go and pick up my son from school. We eat lunch together. I take him to basketball. I come home, relax for a couple hours, and go to training at night from 6 to 9 p.m. And then I come home and do it all over again.
And
the
6
next
to
day.
9 is
you-
when you're in the ring. That's
I'm
you
in the
got
boxing
mitts
gym.
on. Okay.
Yeah, so the very first 2 workouts are just morning conditioning
Yeah.
and then strength training and then boxing at night. So I do that Monday through Saturday. Sunday is my only rest day.
Oof.
And then usually in between workouts where I can kind of find the time suitable, I do a little bit of recovery every day, whether it's cryotherapy, seeing my chiropractor, doing massages, all that type of stuff. Wow. So it's a full-time gig, man.
I can't imagine spending all day every day in the gym.
Well, you gotta
Like,
think about it.
I need my time.
Most people work 8 hours a day on an average job. I'm spending 6 hours a day working out.
Yeah.
I know, but it's so much work.
I know, but hey, you only get what you earn,
I need
right?
my time to
love it.
like scroll on TikTok, read my book, watch my shows. Love is Blind is out again, so you know what I mean. I need my time for that. I don't want to
So for me,
spend.
it's And I think
all
it's
day in the
similar
gym
for a lot of pro athletes, or really anybody that's really trying to reach a pivotal point in their career, more so in sports. I don't watch cable. I don't watch TV. The only TV I watch is maybe Netflix at night before I'm going to bed, but I never watch TV. I don't got time for it.
Well,
My
who has
time
cable
is
these
devoted
days?
every day
Yeah.
to just business, my son, my career, marketing, things like that, meeting with sponsors, doing TV interviews. I don't ever watch TV. I don't got time for
Dude,
it.
I get so much more work done when I'm not on my phone or I'm not on TV. I'm not watching TV. Like if my fiance's out of town for the
anybody
weekend.
would.
Yeah, but like the amount of things I can go through on my to-do list, I'm flying through them. But as soon as you turn the TV on or as soon as you open TikTok, like there goes 2-3 hours of your life.
I mean, yeah, but I think you also have to have you can't be go 24/7 all the time. Like I feel like anyways, I would burn out. Like I would get so tired so easily. I need those brain rot hours to not do
Well, you
anything
gotta have
and just
a
like
healthy
relax.
work-life balance, for anything. For me, a lot of what it comes down to is discipline. Like what, you were just talking about. We're constantly surrounded around distractions. That's all we're surrounded around is constant distractions. A lot of my friends don't even hit me up to invite me out no more because they already know the answer.
Right.
If it's not on a Saturday night, which is the only night deemed for me to really have some downtime, my friends don't even hit me up no more because they already know the answer.
They know.
I'm so focused 6 days a week that's all that I do. I dedicate my entire life to the craft, but, my work ethic and what I'm doing in the gym before fights is what allows me to excel on fight night. But for a lot of pro athletes or a lot of people in general, they're constantly distracted by all these distractions that they keep on kind of inching towards, and I don't ever feed into it, man.
Yeah. When you said you were an all-star, you were an all-athlete type of student.
Right.
You ran through a couple things. You said golf and did you say
So
basketball?
all throughout my life, golf was the very first sport I started playing when I was a little kid. I was 2 years old when I first learned how to play golf.
Okay.
Then I started playing soccer, then basketball, then boxing was the last. So I always played all four of those at the same time all throughout my life.
Okay. So for boxing, that was the only sport that you needed to kind of fit within a certain window of weight. So I was a wrestler in high school, and when you had to cut weight, it was the worst. Do you still kind of like get up to the line and need to drop a few pounds before the fight, or like where do you fluctuate? How far do you fluctuate?
Yes and no. So my weight category, I fight in a cruiserweight division. It goes up to 200. It's really kind of like 180 to 200.
Okay.
But a lot of people kind of flutter.
It's a big window. A 20-pound window?
Well, yeah, it's just cruiserweight was kind of like an open window. If a lot of people know about boxing, cruiserweight's what they call or consider the natural heavyweight division.
Okay.
One of the biggest cruiserweights people remember, but he was a heavyweight, Rocky Marciano, right?
Yeah.
Way back in the day when Rocky Marciano fought, he was only 195 pounds, but that was considered heavyweight back then. But over the years, as guys continued to progress and get so much bigger, they turned heavyweight into cruiserweight. Now the heavyweight division is really considered super heavyweight. It's 201 plus, there's no cap.
Got it.
So you'll fight a guy 400 pounds and be 205 pounds.
Hell no.
But look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson usually always weighed around like 218 pounds.
Yeah.
He was only 6 foot.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that he was fighting, 6'4", 6'5", 270 plus, they're big boys.
Yeah.
So it's just really knowing. It all really depends on where you feel strong at. For me, I feel really strong where I'm at. I always usually walk around at my fight weight. But to get to your question, if I'm a little over, I have like little things that I could do to cut weight overnight. Like I've cut, 12 pounds overnight in a matter of hours.
How?
There's different methods. You could do a
Please
cleanse.
share.
Well, a lot of
all the ladies trying to
Hold on now.
trying to get ready for spring break. They want to know.
I started tuning out. Y'all started talking sports.
It
A
is
lot
temporary.
of it's temporary, depleting your body of water, right? So you could do a cleanse. You could do Epsom salt baths. In about 20 minutes, you rub Abilene all over your body, or a sweet sweat opens up your pores. Get the bath water as hot as you can take it. Pour Epsom salt in there. Then 10 to 15 minutes, you usually lose about 4 to 6 pounds every 10 to 15
Period.
minutes.
Really?
Yeah, but all these, again, with you having a wrestling background and fighters, these are all the methods that they use. They'll go into a sauna with a sweatsuit. There's so many ways you could do it. The healthiest way for me, I'm always dieting for the most part. I always keep an eye on my weight. So it's like, because I walk around at my fight weight and I'm always constantly training,
Okay.
makes the transition for me going into the fights a lot stronger. There was a fight before, 4 years ago when I had the biggest fight of my career. I fought on pay-per-view of the Mike Tyson card. I ended up cutting 20 pounds overnight for that fight. Most weight I ever cut.
Overnight.
Damn.
Overnight. And it definitely took a toll on me.
Bet.
That doesn't like exhaust you the
It
next
does,
day.
So if you know anything about, nutrition, anatomy of the body, it really takes more than 24 hours after you weigh in to fight night to replenish, So when you're cutting that much weight, you're going to get dehydrated, you're going to get cramping, you're not going to feel as strong because you're going to feel really tired. I went through all of that, but, it is what it is. At certain times of the game, you got to do what you got to do.
So now I know who I need to ask. Blake, exactly. I need a fin to address tomorrow. What do I do?
So what's the timeline? Because just for the average person that never gets in the ring, we watch these big fights and we watch the weigh-in on Friday and then we watch the fight on Saturday.
Right.
So you cut weight to make weigh-in, and then can you immediately put weight back 100%. On before you get in the ring, or do you get to maintain that weight?
For most people that watch fighting, most fights are usually on Saturday, for example, right? So weigh-ins are 24 hours a day before on Friday.
24 hours,
So you'll cut weight Thursday night because you'll usually weigh in around lunchtime on Friday, right? So as soon as you weigh in, you can start putting on as much weight as you want. But the cap to that is if you're fighting for a world title, they have weight requirements that you can't exceed. So it's usually within 8 to 12 pounds, depending on whatever's in the contract. So if you're fighting for a world title, after you weigh in, there's going to be a weight cap that you can't replenish and rehydrate past a certain amount of weight.
Okay,
but that's
so
only usually for a world title.
But for you, when you dropped 20, if you were world titling that day, you can't put all 20 back on.
No.
You can put 8 to 10 more back on.
Yep.
Wow.
Usually dictates whatever's in the contract. But if you're not fighting for a world title, guys can cut. Usually most guys walk around 15 to 30 pounds over their weight category of what they fight at. So throughout camp and cutting weight before the fight, that's usually what they cut down to just to make the weight. The average person puts on about 15 to 20 pounds before they fight.
I didn't know you could drop that much that fast.
I know.
Wrestling, we were working with 2 to 3 pounds. Hey, put on a bunch of hoodies, run around the track, spit.
And you were just
lot.
in high school too,
and
right?
You were in high school. It's super unhealthy.
Yeah.
The game's changed now, though. My
changed.
nephew, he just got ranked as one of the, he's the top one wrestler in his weight category. Now, I haven't talked to him too much, but he's usually cutting probably 10 pounds, roughly, to make weight. No. I think he fights wrestles at 174, but he's usually walking around, I think, around 190.
Oof.
So the game has changed and evolved over the years,
Dude, I was my freshman year, because everybody asked me, hey, you always said you were small in high school. What was it? I'm I know that I was 89 pounds my freshman year, and I was 5'1". They go, how
89 pounds?
They're like, how do you know? I said, because wrestling was a fall sport. It was the first.
Right.
It was the first sport of the year. I know I was 89 pounds because I went to my first wrestling class, or not class. Yeah, it's class. Wrestling.
I don't know.
Practice. Sorry, wrestling practice. Go to my first wrestling practice. Afterwards, the coach is like, all right, everybody in the locker room, strip down your underwear. We're going to get on the scale and we're going to put you whatever in your category. So I get on and he goes, you're 89 pounds. You have to gain 5 pounds for me to legally let you on the team. I go, what? He's like, you need to go gain weight. You can't be on the team at 89 pounds. I had to gain 5 pounds for them to even let me on the team.
Weight gainer.
Weight gainer.
Eating a lot of meat.
Yeah. And then when I got it, I think I was wrestling 103s and I went to 112s, which I know the weight classes have changed. But when I was at 112s, there was a couple times I'd have to drop some weight, where the players will drop some weight to fit in the 112s. But I was 89 pounds my freshman year. Bro, I was tiny.
I'm 5'1".
Yeah, I was your height.
But I'm not 89 pounds. Probably a little smaller.
So let's talk about the fight then. March 8th, we've been to Thunder Valley. We've been to the venue at Thunder Valley a million times for all sorts of concerts.
Beautiful venue.
It's a great venue.
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture how they're going to bring the world of boxing into that venue.
So the promoter, which is a very well-recognized promoter, he's been promoting in Sacramento ever since I was a little kid. He's been at it probably 30-plus years, Nasser Navaroni.
Okay.
He's the promoter that is working with Thunder Valley to now do these fights at their venue.
Okay.
So we had the very first fight about 4 months ago. It was a co-main event. pretty good turnout. Very first one, it was around 2,000 people.
Oof.
Now the second time, I'm back headlining the whole venue. I think there's my fight plus 8 or 9 others, so there'll be about 9 or 10 fights. And the whole venue's almost already completely sold out.
Nice. And
how does the layout work with
That's
that?
what I was gonna ask.
So if you guys have been there, you know they got the stage.
Yeah.
And you come out and there's normally all the floor seating. So you still have the floor seating, but you probably lose about maybe 100 to 200 seats in the very middle because they have like another stage come off the main stage that brings you out to the ring.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the stage, the ring isn't on the stage.
No.
It's
It's in the middle of the floor.
Seats.
Yep.
There we go.
So you just lose a little bit of seating on the floor, and the ring goes literally in the middle of like where the stage is, just center right there on the
Like
floor.
right before where the stairs are to go up to like the
Yep,
upper.
exactly.
That's a nice setup then.
Interesting.
Dude, it's amazing.
That's a nice
I've never
setup.
even been to that venue where I've been out in the audience because every time I've been there is other friends performing, comedian acts. I've always been backstage like when Chingy
Watch out now.
Chingy, when
I'm
Chingy
always
performed
backstage,
there,
so I
Bone
don't-
Thugs and Harmony, like these
Yep.
are people, friends of mine that I've met throughout the industry. So every time I've been to that specific venue, I've always been backstage. But I've seen pictures of people that have been out in the venue. It's a beautiful venue, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's
And
beautiful.
it holds around 4,000 people.
And before they built it, we were out in the parking lot in the
heat.
112
In the
degree
heat.
Sacramento
I remember those
summer.
days.
Oh, my God.
I used to go to all those summer jams way back.
Yeah.
When Lizette and I were talking when Big Al used to work for iHeart.
Rest in peace.
I know. Rest in peace to Big Al. And man, I used to be backstage with Big Al, hanging out with 112 and all the R&B groups. Man, it was a great time. But
man.
the transition from the parking lot now to this upscale venue is
So
so
much
much
better.
better.
Oh, so
You're
much
not
better.
getting cooked out in the
So
sun all
much
day.
better.
No.
Dude, I would look like a lobster after being out at
Yeah.
a concert all
Him
day
too.
like that.
Me too. It's that Scottish-Irish blood doesn't do us well in the summer.
Hey, white
Y'all
boys,
turn
we don't
pink.
tan very well.
We do not tan well.
Scottish
be
and
turning
Irish blood
pink.
does not tan.
We do not. I was going to ask you about. Hold on, I had it. I didn't want to interrupt you. It was
We were talking about the
boxing venue.
and the layout.
What's your walkout song? That's what guys. Do you have a walkout song?
For this song, or for this fight, I do usually always change it up this one. I don't want to give any spoilers.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
just say every time I walk out, because of my military background, I always have soldiers walk me out carrying the American flag.
Nice.
And I have very upbeat, lively music that's going to get people interactive with the song and with my entrance, and it's going
Okay.
to get you out of your
I'm
seat.
coming out.
No.
I want the world to know. Blake.
Hey, one.
Here's the beat.
Hey, one song I've always want to walk out to, and it might be funny, but it's a classic, and I'm going to wait to get back on TV to do it again. Ice Ice Baby, Vanilla Ice Baby.
That would be funny. That would be funny.
I think that's only funny to you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how many times did somebody call you that growing up? Vanilla Ice.
Never.
Oh, just me. Okay, sorry. Never mind. Never mind. Sorry. Yeah, you're right, Blake. You're right. Me and the Beast.
Hey, it was funny when I was a little
You're
kid.
right.
Everybody used to always call me Eminem, bro, because I was always a skinny white kid
Yep.
wearing baggy clothes. But yeah, man, my music is definitely something that gets the crowd interactive with my entrance and gets people out of their seat, man.
That's
Yeah.
one of the most important parts is the walkout song.
You got to get them on your team. You got to
Gonna
get
be
them on your
high
side.
energy.
So,
Yeah.
so who you're fighting on March 8th? Do you know this dude? Are you tracking his career? Are you watching film on
I don't
him?
personally know him. I just know that he's out of New York, Albany, New York.
Okay.
His name's Sean Miller. I believe he's 17-6-1. 17 wins, 6 lost, 1 draw.
Okay.
So he's got a good record. I mean, he's a decent opponent. And outside of that, I don't ever watch footage or tape on none of the people I'm going to fight, any of my opponents. I don't let my team do that. I just kind of go through the game plan and prepare my mind, being ready for anything.
Yeah.
Have you ever been knocked out?
Never.
I was going to ask if it was scary. Have you ever knocked someone else out?
Yeah, multiple times.
Yes.
Do you feel bad at all?
No.
That's the game.
Relieved,
I
you
mean,
know.
I know,
Once
but
I see,
you knock
obviously,
somebody out and they just laying there. You're not.
what you
You're not
train
like
for, though, that
they're not
everybody
dead,
wants
are they?
to get the knockout. It's like for me, I'm in a professional sport, and it's not like I'm just going out here fighting people in the streets and I'm going to cause a lot of bodily harm. But people get hurt and killed in this industry all the time, man. So it's like for me, that's why I train really hard so that the fights are easy. But whenever I knock somebody out, In the moment, I'm happy, but after I know that I won and they
walk over and give them a little kick.
I don't give them a kiss, but I'll go out and check on them, make sure they're okay, and just show the right sportsmanship. At the end of the day, we're all out here trying to push ourselves to be the best, and I want to show that respect and that sportsmanship. And the most important thing is that we're both going home to our families at the end of the night.
Yeah. If you can't answer this question honestly and you need to kind of toe some politically correct line, I understand. But as a professional boxer, someone who really does this for a living, you put in the work, you get in the ring, how do you feel about these Jake Paul, Mike Tyson type fights?
Hate it.
Good, thank you.
We don't even got to finish.
Thank you.
Jake Paul, I was supposed to fight him. His team's afraid to fight me. I wish they would send me a contract because I would retire that cat from ever even showing his face in a boxing ring. I would make that cat a meme. I can't stand them. These YouTubers, stay in your lane and leave this shit to the professionals, man. I can't stand it.
Because these are
you
not
wanna
real
be a YouTuber?
fights,
Fight
right?
other YouTubers.
Yes.
Don't try to come out of YouTube because you got a fan base. Think that you're going to come into it. People like me in this industry are really trained killers. We came from poverty. We came from having absolutely nothing. We've come from the trenches, and you want to try to go up against somebody that was born with a silver spoon in their mouth. To go up against somebody like me, I'm going to chew you up and spit you out. It's simple as that.
But
man.
you don't think he could also be doing all
everything
the
that
training
Jake Paul is
and...
doing? I don't care about none of that. That dude's a fraudster. He's fake. He is not a real fighter. All these YouTubers alike, they're not real fighters. You want to be a real fighter? Cool. Compete with other YouTubers.
Yes.
Don't ever try to call out another pro.
Yes.
And what was frustrating to me is a lot of these YouTubers that come out and call out these guys to fight, they're calling out retired fighters that are far surpast their prime. Look, Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson. That was a gimmick.
Yeah.
Anybody
Full
that
gimmick.
saw it knew it was a gimmick. It was a payday. You know what I mean? It was a nationwide, worldwide robbery.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fed into it.
Yeah.
But I never would.
It's like the WWE version of whatever his definition of boxing is. I feel it's scripted. I feel it's determined prior. Hey, it's a good show. It's like Britney Spears lip syncing. You're gonna go to a Britney Spears concert. She's gonna lip sync, but she's gonna put on a good show. So I think that's the Jake Paul fights. Hey, we're gonna pretend this is boxing. We're just gonna give you a good show.
But it's fraud, man.
It's so fraudulent.
I can't stand it, bro. Nothing about me is a fraud. That you couldn't pay me enough money to take a fall for no man. You know what I mean? And for me, I don't respect it. And a lot of people are going through the conversations. Oh, they're bringing a lot of newer eyes to boxing. Okay, that's cool. But it's newer eyes that are being persuaded in the wrong way, seeing not the correct boxing. They're not real fights.
Uneducated eyes.
100%. And it's usually a younger generation. Look at Jake Paul. His fan base is a bunch of 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know nothing about life, let alone boxing.
Yeah.
Your fan bases are adults.
Most of them.
We're all grown.
Grown
Not a
folks.
bunch of kids. Hear that, Jake Paul?
Hear that? All right, so the Beast, you're the headliner for the fight, March 8th, the venue at Thunder Valley. We know you have sponsors that take care of you. Do you need to shout any of them out right now? I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to do so.
No, I appreciate it, man. My biggest sponsor, he's a huge developer, very well respected in the Sacramento and surrounding areas. Bianchi and Tillett developers. Anybody's looking to get a custom home built or get their dream home built, definitely look into them. Let them build your custom home.
All right, people can follow you in your boxing journey where? Give me the socials, the websites.
People can follow me on Instagram at Blake the Beast and then on Facebook at Blake McKernan.
What were you going to say?
McKernan. I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay. Wait, how old is your son? How old is Tyson?
My son just
You said
turned
17?
14.
Oh, 14.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
a hooper, man. And he's good. Really good.
Is he
No.
going to stay with basketball or is he going to get
He
into the
is.
ring a little bit?
So, I invest a lot of time and money into his basketball right now. So, for me, I'm trying to implement my son learning that you'll never be able to capitalize anything in life without hard work.
Yeah.
So, dude, I go and pick up my son after this interview. We eat. I take him to the basketball gym for 4.5, 5 hours a day.
That's what you got to do. You got to put in that work, though. Yeah.
4.5, 5 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. Take him to Hardwood out in Rockland or Lincoln. Friday nights, he hoops with all the old guys over at 24 Hour, and then he has games every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So my son's hooping 7 days a week, and he loves it. I'm pushing him, but if he has certain days where he's like, which it doesn't really happen because he loves the game so much.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm really sorry. Okay, if you're not going to be here, you're going to stay home, take a day off, you're going to be watching film. You're going to be watching film on college basketball. You're going to be watching film on the NBA. You have to transition yourself from knowing what you're seeing and transition that into your game. So I'm just really trying to implement to show my son, like, if you want to make it to the NBA, I'm not going to tell you that it's impossible, but it's going to be really hard. You're going to have to work for it. You know, so I make sure that he works for it, and he's at the gym every day.
That's
Nice.
incredible. Your son is doing the same thing, but with online video gaming.
Yeah, he wants
He's putting 8 hours a day in
8
those
hours
online
a
video
day.
games.
He wants to be a streamer. And I told him, you know, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's going to be a lot of hard work of playing games,
Right.
playing video games and practicing. So he got really good at Fortnite.
Yeah. He's great at Fortnite.
He loves Roblox, and he has the Quest, the VR, the Oculus thing. And so he be playing like soccer on there and stuff.
Oh.
He's getting real good.
Getting great.
It's crazy too, man, how much technology has taken over society nowadays. You know, there's different strokes for different folks. You know, her son wants to get into streaming. I think a lot of the younger generation is doing that. Me personally, just for my son, because I know where his vision is, I don't let him get on no technology Monday through Thursday. None.
Smart.
Academics and sports, that's all you got time for. No electronics.
See, I wish I could do
I
that,
love
but
that.
I just can't.
I love that. I need
Really
Blake
hard,
to be, I need
but-
Blake to be my dad. Strawberry, put the phone down. Get to work.
Will you raise my son also?
Before I let you go, what is your favorite? Give me like your favorite punch. You're gonna hit somebody. What's the
signature move?
location? Is it right? Is it left? Like, is it uppercut? Like, is it right in the nose? Like, what's
My
your favorite
shot
one
that
hitter?
I've always been really strong at is my left hook.
So left
I have
hook
a really strong left hook.
to the jaw, to the
Doesn't
where?
matter. Wherever it lands.
Give me your
Wherever it
favorite one.
lands.
Wherever it touches, it's gonna hurt, man.
Okay.
Your face, your body. I've dropped so many people with my left hook. It's ridiculous.
I think you two should spar.
No,
My
I have a bad
last
shoulder.
my last fight, I fought this big Colombian. He was like 6'3", 235 pounds. It was going into the fourth round, just into the fourth round. I threw a throwaway punch is where you throw away a punch. You're not really trying to land it to set up a big shot. So I threw like a right hand, came back the hard left hook, hit him center in the face, bro, and he buckled. It was over. So I'm coming
you
off
guys
of
should
2
spar.
back-to-back fourth round knockouts, man. We're going to come up with the third one this next fight.
Dude, we
March
wish
8th.
you all the best. So after this fight, March 8th, do you even know what your next
I
one is
got
going to
some
be?
things lined up. You know,
Okay.
I'm not going to give out no spoilers. I'm working on some things right now. I'm working with Nasser, the promoter for this event, on getting some more televised fights and doing some more fights. So, you know,
Stay in touch. However
yeah,
we can
just
help
got to
promote. Let's
focus
do
on
this
one
again.
fight at a time, man. You know, once I get through this fight, take a couple of days off, get back in the gym, start working on whatever is, you know, meant to come up next.
Okay.
All right.
Stay in touch
March
with us. Let's do this
8th
again
at
for your
Thunder
next
Valley.
fight.
It's
Yes.
gonna go crazy.
All right, Blake the Beast, everybody. And if you don't have tickets, best place to get tickets for the fight on March 8th?
People can message me on Instagram at Blake the Beast or on Facebook at Blake McKernan to get discounted tickets.
Boom. All right, you can follow us on Instagram at Strawberry and Lizette.
I'm at Lizette Love. LIZETTELOVEE. I didn't feel like spelling it this time.
Okay. I'm at Strawberry Radio. Thank you for podcasting with us. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.
Bye.